The Indonesia-Portugal Chamber of Commerce and Industry, or CCIIP for short, is an association of business organizations in Portugal and Indonesia focusing on international trade and development of both countries. Today, I'll be speaking to Martha Octavia, the country representative of the CCIIP, who supports the daily operations and activities of the Chamber in Indonesia, just to find out what lies ahead for the CCIIP in Indonesia. Watch this. Martha, thanks for being with us here today. Our viewers want to know a little bit more about your story, who you are, a little bit about your history and where you come from. So if you can just give us a brief rundown, that'll be great.
Thank you so much, Francis.
Right.
So my name is Martha Octavia, and I'm actually Indonesian, but I've been spending in the past 6 years in Portugal.
Right.
Yeah, so I went there for actually studying my MBA, and after that I got a work there, and then I got a job offer, and then I continued to work there as a consultant for European Union's projects.
Okay.
So that's going on, rolling a lot, and after that I come across the Chamber of Commerce of Portugal-Indonesia.
Okay.
So I have a very good connection with all the members over there, with the president of the chambers, and then in November 2020 I had to go back to Indonesia to running a lot of businesses over here.
Okay.
So with that we make the connections, and that's where I came across, and then being assigned as the representative of the chamber here in Indonesia.
That's quite a story, actually. Now, as a country representative of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Indonesia and Portugal, short of it will be CCIIP. Now, this is actually an association of business organizations with members from both sides, Portugal as well as in Indonesia. But when you look at actually your member base, where are most of your members from? Are they from Portugal, or you have a lot of Indonesian members who are showing interest?
Okay, thank you, Francis. So the chambers already established since 2012,
right?
And it started with a lot of members in Portugal, but then it of course developed and continued to be members in Indonesia.
Mm-hmm.
But for now we have around 30 members. And mostly the members from Portugal. So it's like 70% the members are from Portugal.
Okay, so these would be Portuguese companies that are operating in Indonesia itself right now. For those Portuguese companies that are venturing into Indonesia, of course, being a foreign company coming into Indonesia, there will be challenges that they come across. And as the chamber, what are the initiatives and projects that have been undertaken by the CCIIP aimed at supporting the needs of these members who are maybe for the start struggling to set up, because there are certain pitfalls to avoid when setting up in a new country. So how do you address these issues, and how do you help them?
Yeah, thanks, Francis. So as I mentioned earlier, that we have a lot of members now.
Right.
So mostly the members in Portugal, they're not only having the business here in Indonesia, but also the companies that has the interest to go to Indonesia. So
Okay.
that's where the chambers come into place and then help them. First of all, we provide a lot of information and insights about Indonesia, in this case, when they are interested to go to Indonesia, so they can get a lot of insights more, because Portugal and Indonesia is very far, and most of them don't really know about what is happening in Indonesia and what are the best industries to look on, and the opportunities that are available here. So we give a lot of information on that, and
Okay.
also somehow the help for the market entry for them to go to Indonesia, and also to develop the connection over here to the related industry and also contacts, and that helps our members a lot.
From your point of view, what would you say would be, for a start, for a new company or for a new investor who actually wants to come into Indonesia, and because Indonesia is full of natural resources and there's a lot of things that can be done. What would you advise this investor? What are the good avenues that they can actually venture into?
Yeah, so of course a lot of business players there, especially in Portugal, they look a lot in the trend that what is
Right.
happening
Right.
right now. So they see Indonesia as a very huge market.
It is. It
Yeah,
is.
so if we compare, Portugal is very small in size as compared to Indonesia. Not only that, but also in the population. They only have around 20 million population in total as compared to Indonesia. So they see this is like a huge market and very potential for them to explore more. And furthermore, we have a lot of history together because Portugal is the first European country that arrived in Indonesia back then in the 16th centuries. So that with the histories and connections, they want to explore more to what to do in Indonesia. And with that, they will look at the trend, what are the industry that's booming in Indonesia, and also, as you mentioned, from the, for instance, energy aspects, they see that Indonesia also try to go into energy,
Yes.
renewable energy. That's very popular market, and Indonesia is, one of their potential market to explore.
Right. I believe it's common knowledge that Indonesia is one of the fastest growing economies in the world at this point in time. And the past decade has brought up so many opportunities for potential investors who actually want to come into Indonesia. And a lot has been done to encourage bilateral relationships between Portugal and Indonesia. And even in Portugal, for that matter, when you speak about Portugal, the economy has stabilized over the last few years, I'm sure you know, and modernized. And this actually makes it a very interesting and attractive investment destination as well. Now, tell us about the role which is played by your chamber in facilitating both ways, bilateral trade between both countries.
Sure, thanks. So we work together a lot with both embassies in both countries. So we have Indonesian embassy there in Portugal, in Lisbon,
Yep.
and also we have the Portuguese embassy here in Jakarta. And so both embassies, especially the ambassadors, they are very keen to help the chambers as well in spreading the words about opportunities in both countries. So we kind of work in the middle. We help our members and also business players to work on together. And also with that, we created a lot of events in between. For instance, just actually recently, Francis, in last week, we have the forum of Indonesian-Portugal Economic Forum.
Right.
Yeah, it's online, but it was attended by 200 participants. So it shows that more and more people from both sides of the countries are interested to explore opportunities together.
Where were most of the participants from? Portugal or Indonesia?
For that forum, mostly from Indonesia, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you see, so as an Indonesian, do you sense that it is maybe a little bit more one-sided, with more Indonesians planning on investing in Portugal, bringing investment out of Indonesia, as opposed to bringing in investment to Indonesia from Portugal? Do you feel in any way that it's a little bit one-sided at this point?
Yeah, I think it's very interesting also to notice that, for instance, during the forum itself, that more Indonesian are interested on that. We could see that, I think for the Indonesian point of view, Portugal is seen as something new and unique as compared to other European countries that we have been having a lot of collaborations in these recent years. For instance, of course, Portugal smaller as compared to other European countries like Germany or England or Netherlands, for instance.
Right.
But then it is something new that makes them curious to see what can be done there or what can be explored then. And also after those forum, actually I received a lot of contact and questions from the participants to know more about Portugal and also to explore the potential contacts over there.
Interesting. This is a topic that normally we try not to discuss because it has affected all of us over the last couple of years. I'm going to talk about COVID-19. Globally, it was a huge pandemic. And we had a major war with this virus. Now, a lot of companies, a lot of countries are actually opening up. We are getting past this. So as we move into a post-pandemic world, as we like to call it, help us to understand to what extent did COVID-19 and the restrictive measures that were put into place because of this virus, to what extent did it affect the economy here in Indonesia, as well as the Portuguese business community, and how bad was the impact? Because we also want to know how did you as a chamber step up your game, and I'm sure pretty many of your members were affected. I'm pretty sure some of them even shut down. So we want to know how did you step up your game and help your members at this point?
Yes, of course, we understand that the current pandemic has affected a lot throughout the world, and especially in Portugal and Indonesia. I would say in first it's between the relations and restrictions between both countries. When the pandemic hits, it's really hard because, for instance, for the chamber itself, we have to shut down some activities such as like the business missions, because business mission is one of our main activities for the chamber's members, and that's the time that our members from Portugal can really come and experience exploring Indonesia in the first hand. So because of the COVID, then we have to kind of shut down for that.
That must have been a huge blow.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
really important.
Yes,
and also events. It's not just you.
Yeah,
it's across the board. Every single chamber was affected.
Yes.
But it's actually, when you look at it from a certain perspective, it's actually interesting to know, as a chamber, I'm already affected, but I have all these members here with me. Of course, some are falling away, but we still do have the members, and it's our responsibility to take care of their business.
Exactly.
To see that they grow.
Exactly.
So even when I'm suffering and I'm not able to have my own events and I'm not able to expand, what can I do to even help my own members continue? Not having them, fail and shut down, because that's really bad for the economy. I do understand where you're coming from, and it must have been hard.
Yeah, and so we try to seek comfort with the members, and then offering a lot of alternative. Of course, during the COVID, then now everything shifts into the online, but then it's different because business basically better to meet in person and to see your potential partners in the other side of the world. So we kind of give a consult for them that we can resume again after this pandemic, and luckily also now that the border is open and it's easy for the Portuguese businesses to come here right now.
Did you lose any members during the pandemic?
Some of them, because of course they will say that they have to pending their membership for the next few years.
It's actually a paradox when you think about it. A chamber membership is actually very, very important because this is going to help their businesses grow.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, when they're trying to cut corners, and this is one of the first things that they cut. So it's like a paradox, so it's crazy. Now, as we both know, there were some restrictions that were put in place because of COVID, so we were not able to move around as much as we would like to. We wouldn't be, we were not able to go out and have dinner. We couldn't go shopping. So things took a leap. Technology took over. Things started to change. Now, we have big companies and we have the small ones. Sometimes it's easier for the bigger companies to adapt to evolving technology, changing technology, having new gadgets in place, new apps. Everybody can do things in a completely different way because they have the natural resources. They are able to actually pull in people and get things done very quickly. For small ones, for the SMEs, I'm pretty sure they face a lot of challenges. And what I want to know from you at this point is, I'm rather sure you do have certain Indonesian SMEs who fall under your membership group. How did you support these SMEs? Because when it comes to adaptation of new technologies, it's not easy. So they want to grow. So how did you support them to a point where they actually became catalysts for growth for SMEs?
Yes, Francis. So as the member of the chambers, we are always help everyone together, each other.
Right.
So we have a frequent meeting for all the members, and then during the meetings, definitely during coffee, it's more in online meetings, but then we listen to each of the members' struggle and the challenges that they're facing.
Devastating.
Yes, and so everyone listens to that, and then because we have pool of different industry and also background of the members,
Yes.
so they always give a lot of insights and even information. For instance, in Europe itself, there are a lot of funding available for SMEs, and that's fall either from the government of the country or from the European Union as a whole. So our members will share a lot of information on that and on how SMEs can survive during this global pandemic. So with that, when there is an reliable information for that can be relevant for Indonesian members, we also share that right away to them.
Right. It's all about sharing. It's all about making the right connections. Connections is important, very, very important. Be they local, be they international, business is all about connections. And I'll just say, the more connections you have, the more opportunities that open up for you. Now, I do understand that at this point, post-pandemic, CCIIP has various initiatives in place, and I want to know, and I'm pretty sure our viewers want to know as well. What do you have planned over the next 6 months or maybe the next 1 year? I do know it's hard to predict what's going to happen next month, but I'm pretty sure you have an infrastructure in place and you have plans on what you want to do. So what are your plans for your members?
Yes, thank you, Francis. So now we are aiming to expand more membership in Indonesia.
Right.
Since now that we have myself as the country representative, we want to have more activities in place.
Yep.
So I'm very happy to be connected with Gochambers so that we can reach out more business networks in Indonesia.
Definitely.
So that's our primary focus. And secondly, we want to return back the business missions from Portugal to Indonesia, because we've been waiting for that, for the borders to open and we can bring them to here, and vice versa. When our members in Indonesia or any other businesses that feel interested to go to Portugal, we can provide and arrange for that mission for them to go there as well. So those are the two main things that we want to seek going into places in the next few months.
Fantastic. A lot of plans in place. Now, we will have potential members of your chamber watching this. So share with them, share with the viewers how, maybe you'll take one as an example, one of the members that you have at this point in time. How did they come on board as a member? What were the issues that they were actually facing in their industry, and how did you help them out? Make it a real world example so it's easier to relate.
Very well. Okay, so we have one member that is a consulting company.
Yes.
In engineering industry.
Right.
So they open a business in Indonesia, and then the chamber helps them in connecting to the relevant people in the industry, and also to open more doors, because you know that in Indonesia consulting company is very competitive industry. When you don't know who to go or who to
every other person you bump into is a consultant.
Exactly. So that the chamber with the close also relation with administrative from both countries.
Yeah.
So we help this company to grow and to definitely step the foot here in the country.
Fantastic. So all these potential members who are watching this, listen up, because this is actually real world information that you're going to get. And now, what if any of these companies want to sign up for a membership with you? Is it a very stringent process, or is it very streamlined? How does anybody sign up for a membership?
Sure. Yeah, it's very straightforward that you can contact me directly in Indonesia if you happen to be in Indonesia. And you can also visit our profile on LinkedIn, because we are more active on that. So it's a Portugal-Indonesia Chamber of Commerce and Industry. You can find it on LinkedIn. You can contact the contact person available there, and we're very much keen to help you on whatever questions you have.
Fantastic. All your contact details will be in the comment section of the video that you will see on the Chamber Guide. So should anybody want to reach out to you for any information whatsoever, they'll be able to click on that link and get in touch with you straight away. Now, just before we close, I have one final question for you. Yes, we all plan to reach out to other chambers. We plan to reach out to new members, trying to innovate, trying to come up with new possibilities, opening up new avenues for people to reach out to, new members or for that matter, potential businesses, and we are talking about sustainable growth as well. So many things that come into play when you want to expand a business now. When you talk about wanting to help people from all avenues, everyone who actually comes into Indonesia and looks up to you as a chamber and say, hey, you know what, I need help. What would you want to say to them? Or maybe even to the global business community, what are the final words that you actually want to share with our viewers who are watching you from across the globe?
Yes, so the first thing that I want to say is that let's always be positive and open, because in the global world that always changing all the time, it needs a mindset that always open and also easily adapt. So when the business need to go suddenly into technology, so that they need to be ready for that. And then second one is to reach out for help. So that's why it's the main purpose of the chamber itself, which is to help out businesses both in Portugal and Indonesia. So don't be hesitant to reach out and asking if we can help in any matter that they need. For instance, just like giving contacts, relations, or information, or market information. That's even the smallest help can make a big difference.
I'm pretty sure. Now, Martha, I just want to thank you for taking the time to be with us today. It has been great. And are you coming for our event tomorrow?
Yes, I will.
Fantastic. It's going to be at about 6 p.m. and it's going to be a huge networking event. We have a lot of people coming in from the embassies in Indonesia as well as various chambers. You're going to make a whole lot of new connections over there, and we look forward to seeing you there.
I'm looking forward to it.
You have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was Martha Octavia, the country representative of Indonesia Portugal Chamber of Commerce and Industry. To find out more about the CCIIP and how they can help your business in Indonesia, click on the link below. Do let me know if you need to be connected to Martha directly, and it will be my pleasure to make the introduction. Remember to follow our channel for more interviews with chambers and industry leaders from around the world. I'll see you soon on the Chamber Guy.